Well, it's a huge privilege to have Mr. Naseeruddin Shah and Neeraj Pandey with us. Pleasure having you guys first of all on BollywoodHungama, sir.
Thank you.
And sir, what sort of entertainment value does working with Neeraj Pandey bring to the table? You've had a Wednesday and you're having Aiyaary now. And Wednesday is one of the most notable films in the last 10 years as far as you're concerned.
One of the most entertaining things that I ever have to do when I receive a script is I have to sit down and correct the dialogue. Wednesday was the first film in my entire career where I did not have to change a single word that was written.
Right.
And so I have always been of the belief that an actor's output in a film is totally dependent on the quality of the writing.
Absolutely.
And the guidance that he is given.
Right.
So in that sense, Wednesday speaks for itself. And all I can say about it, I mean, without fishing for compliments for either myself or for Neeraj, because we both know it's a worthwhile piece of work. I'm very proud to have been a part of that film. It speaks for itself, and all I can say about it is that the highest compliment I could pay to that script was that I did not feel the need to change a single word. The dialogue just flowed so beautifully.
Right.
In fact, he asked me to play the policeman first.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Mr. Khair's role.
And for some reason things didn't work out.
Right.
So when I read the script, I would have been equally happy to play either part, to tell you the truth. And so when he later told me that I have reconsidered things and I'd like you to play this role, so I said, fine, that's
I think you had some clap-worthy dialogues in the film. So like, "Pankha bech raha hu yahan par," like it was something that people just flip over that. Just
that's all he's doing.
That's not entirely my doing. It's the way it was narrated. I mean, one just can't finish it, writing a line and then expect that it will work. It has to be spoken in the right manner, and you need an actor of his caliber to pull that off.
Right. So I must tell you, we have spoken to Naseer Saab many times, and he's someone that who उनका एक naturally flow करता है कि जो भी बोलूँगा सच के सिवा कुछ नहीं बोलूँगा. And
if you say so.
If he's complimenting you, and he's brutally honest about anyone and everyone.
You tell me?
Yeah. So if he's complimenting you, I'm sure that it's like a huge compliment. And if
of course it is, and actually it's more than the compliment bit. I feel that it's an assertion of the fact that you're doing some things right in life. So by and large, that script has been well written, and it's worthy of his attention. So it's more than a compliment; it's an assertion of the fact that you're doing some things right in your life.
Right. So you played a common man in Wednesday. You're playing a common man in Aiyaary as well. There's a reference in one of the dialogues in the promo that we get to see.
Yes.
How much of the common man...
I'm going to be hearing that dialogue at the traffic lights for the next 10 years. That's for sure.
And how much of the life of the common man has changed the last 10 years from Wednesday till Aiyaary in India?
Well, it's changed in the sense that even the vegetable seller has a mobile phone today.
Mm-hmm. Right.
The cab driver is computer savvy. But relatively everybody else's living standards have also gone up that much. The common man, I think, still faces the same problems. He still has to fight to get into the railway compartment, to get to his job on time.
Right.
The taxi driver or the pushcart guy has to still struggle to make ends meet. The same problems do exist. Everything has become a little more glossy, that is all, which, I think it is a bit of an illusion to believe that our living standards have improved. I think we are where we were.
Right.
The world has changed. So things have changed along with it. But I don't see a person who has to carry a basket of vegetables on his head all day from door to door being made any happier by having a mobile phone on him.
Right. So third world countries like India and Pakistan, the amount of money that is spent on the defense expenditure is phenomenal. Then you're talking about corruption in defense deals in Aiyaary. But if you're talking about the common man, the fact is that so much of money is spent on the defense expenditure, but so little is spent on maybe the basic necessities of a common man that maybe he deserves in a way, like proper transportation, as you said, and at the same time healthcare and a lot of other things. Do you feel it's a bit of a disparity? It's very, very ironical in a way as well.
Those are the ways of the world, I suppose. I don't think that the people ruling the country would have that much of an insight into the everyday life of a vegetable seller or a jhuggi dweller. I guess they are concerned with larger issues. That is their argument to neglecting it. But the fact is that the disparities in so many things do strike one. In the film industry, for example,
Yeah.
the people who actually do the hardest work and the most amount of work are the chaps who sit on the rafters
Ji.
with their lights in the burning heat and in the in all sorts of conditions. Look at the disparity there,
Right.
and look at the amount of work that they do, and and who do the rewards go to. So that's the way of the world, I suppose.
Right. Now, Neeraj sir, as Sir has said that in terms of your writing is something which is phenomenal, and I think any writing, any movie, it's not merely the main story that appeals. It's the subplots that can be extremely engaging. That at many a times it's the subplots that can have far more captivating quotient as far as the movie goer is concerned. Like in Wednesday, you had that. In spite of the fact that the common man is he's doing something that the entire city is on tenterhooks, but he's afraid of his wife, and he has to get those tomatoes back home. So it's extremely interesting, and you're having similar subplots in Aiyaary as well. How important is it to have those well-edged subplots, those small nuances that definitely don't go unnoticed?
Extremely important. I mean, I think that's the spine of any good screenplay. You can't just expect that you've written the protagonist or the antagonist and you expect that the material will fly. They are held together by these small little characters, and in fact, the more attention you pay to them, the better it is for the overall hygiene of the screenplay. Yeah.
Because you can't have, a great pillar can't stand by itself, no?
Right.
It needs support from all sides,
Right.
and the more dependable the support, the better.
Right.
So that is often something that is overlooked in our films.
Yeah, that's true.
Yeah, where all the attention is focused on the protagonist or the antagonist.
Right. Ji.
But your observation is absolutely right. And if you see any of Neeraj's films, you'll see that there's a great deal of attention
Right.
paid to what would be in a normal movie be considered subsidiary characters, which is a term I hate because there is no such thing
Right.
as a subsidiary character.
Right.
Every character is there performing the function he is meant to perform.
Right.
Whether he is there for the whole 2 hours or whether he is there for 5 minutes.
Right.
Absolutely.
Right.
And it's I think really Neeraj's sharp observation of life, and also I think his, the kind of things he's seen in his life, his observation of these people has been very keen, and that's what makes those kind of characters so living.
Right.
I mean, the cop played by Veeru Saxena in Wednesday, for example, everybody remembers him also,
Right. Right. I think Jimmy Shergill, it's one of his most notable performances, the way he comes across. And I think the most beautiful part is the background score that you have for a film like Wednesday. It was such a up-tempo background score, and you're having two men who are not definitely in their 20s or 30s and still looking so heroic, in both in their own way. With the cop as well as the...
Yes.
Which sort of surprised many people.
It surprised
It
many
did.
people.
It must have.
And we need more films like that.
It was very fast-paced. It was extremely fast-paced.
Yeah.
It just...
So the background score
moves.
is done by Sanjay Chaudhary, and he is incidentally the person behind the score of Aiyaary as well.
Okay, all right. So, sir, as you mentioned last time around that there's quite a lot that we still haven't seen. The promos are still not giving away a lot. I think the idea of Aiyaary itself is deception in many ways as well. So, do we get to see those nuances in Aiyaary, those small nuances?
I hope so. I mean, it's all there. I mean,
He wants you to tell him the story of the film. Don't do
and
that.
saving his money. But
No,
that's
They are
exactly.
telling you the story.
Right,
There will be lots of surprises. That I can promise you.
Yeah.
right. So because
Starting with him.
right, because obviously, if you are excited about something, then I think I'm sure that it must be because you're someone who has supported. We have spoken to you for films which are like otherwise a lot of other actors may not have promoted at all, and you have promoted them. And there are films which are like big films, the ones that you say that get you the jam on your table.
Yeah.
For that you've not come out and
Yeah, because those don't need any promotion. Huh?
right. But you seem so excited about Aiyaary right now when we're talking to you. You seem so excited.
Because it seems to me to be, firstly, it's a topical film. It's going to be extremely relevant. It's going to touch a lot of sore spots.
Right.
It's going to be a very provocative film. I just hope somebody doesn't decide to take offense. These days, people take offense at anything.
Easily.
And I think, knowing Neeraj and his work, it'll be a thoroughly entertaining film.
Right.
It'll be a very thrilling film. And he has an excellent team of actors in it. I don't see what can possibly go wrong, unless Neeraj has lost a few marbles since he made his last film.
Like say, for example, Dhoni was extremely red hot. You know, right from start go. I still remember I saw it first day first show in a theater, and I saw people just clapping and it had that entire momentum going for it. And with this entire, like, you know, all these release dates shifting, and one movie coming at on Republic Day, and then the second one shifting as well, and the second one is coming with you guys as well. Right. And your actors, in a way, they are squabbling amongst themselves as well on Twitter, which is interesting. Do you feel that it has, in a way, just diluted the whole buzz the way you would have definitely wanted to be?
The way to look at it is I can't help it.
Right.
I mean, Padmavat was nowhere on horizon, but then the film had to get released. So 26th, it landed on the 25th, 26th, and we had to move. We had no choice in this matter, and it's okay. It's done and dusted for us.
Right.
We expect that in the built up to the release, we'll be having that momentum on our side. We'll be able to generate that awareness and inquisitiveness, and then let the film speak for itself. Yeah.
I think all these factors are overrated, you know.
Right.
This date of release and that date of release. I mean, unless you believe in numerology or something, you know, I think a movie stands or falls on its own merit or on its own faults. You know.
Right.
The fact that Aiyaary got shifted by a week is not going to make any difference to the person who's determined to see it. I remember when I was in college, or when I was, you know, the phase when I was very interested in Hindi cinema, one would decide 2 years before.
Yeah, absolutely.
ये film जब आएगी जरूर देखनी है. You know, Dilip Kumar movies would appear once in 2 years. Raj Kapoor Sahab's film would appear once in 3 years. A movie he made, like he would make, you know, Sangam, and then Jis Desh Mein Ganga Behti, and like 4 or 5 years after that he made Sangam. But the moment he started making Sangam, and I was in class 8 or something, I said, this is a movie I got to see.
Right.
And nothing could have dissuaded me from seeing it when it came. Similarly, I decided this is a movie I'm not going to see. You know, मैं चुप रहूंगी or something like that. इसके तो मैं नजदीक नहीं जाने वाला हूँ. And nothing could persuade me to see that. Even if somebody offered to show it to me free, I would not go to see it.
Right.
So I think people make their own wish lists and they follow. ठीक है यारी इस हफ्ते नहीं आई अगले हफ्ते आ जाएगी.
But sir, do you feel that you're someone who's worked in Hollywood? You've been part of Indian cinema. You're one of the, I think, most illustrious figures that we have. It's a privilege to even just sit across you right now. So, but do you feel that the entire distribution network, the way we have in India, it seems as if people themselves, they're not interested in movies in India. The way, the sort of craze that Indian movies have abroad, people are absolutely crazy about Indian films. There's a show of Padmavat at 4 o'clock in Pakistan, and those guys, they swear by Indian actors, and what say Secret Superstar does 65 crores in India, it's already crossed 400 crores in China, and people are just swearing by it, and it's collecting like 45 crores in a day, and that sort of thing. So the sort of distribution network that we have, the number of screens that we have vis-a-vis the number of population that we have, there's a huge disparity in that, sir. And the idea is that the government support is missing in terms of the taxes are extremely high. So everything is a bit not really on the side of the creative people in terms of if they are making something.
If you're talking of small budget creative people, then I agree with you. The big budget creative people don't have any problem. They're doing pretty well despite all these obstacles that you're naming. I think the film industry is flourishing, and as you yourself said, everywhere in the world, people are seeing Bollywood cinema, have been doing so for the last 10 years. It's a hunger for home, it's a hunger for, you know, something familiar. It's like eating the samosa. A Hindi movie is equivalent to experience of that, you know, eating good old adrak, drinking adrak ki chai and having a samosa, or seeing a Hindi movie. It's a similar, I wonder how long the novelty of that will last when the Indians abroad go into 3rd and 4th generation. kids who are born and brought up there, will they have the same attachment to Bollywood cinema? I really wonder. The thing that hurts me a bit is that it's always the big fish which swallows the little ones, you know. The small movies, and there have been some very worthwhile small movies made in the last 2 or 3 years, both in Hindi and in Marathi. In Marathi, they don't have too much of a competition in places like Sholapur and Sangli and Pune. They run. But the small movies get swallowed up by the big monster which comes along, you know. And one comes along every third week. Star-laden, song-packed, you know, full of dances and masala and paisa vasool guarantee. So a tiny film like Kaun Kitne Pani Mein, which is a movie which came out 2 or 3 years ago, a really wonderful movie.
Right.
Or a film like Dam Laga Ke Aisa. Or a film like Aankhon Dekhi, which are really wonderful movies. They get buried completely. Amir Bashir made a wonderful movie called Harud, which nobody ever saw. You know, because it didn't get any kind of a proper release, and you can't blame the distributors because there's no money in those movies.
Right. So in terms of screens, if we say that, say in India we have, say Hindi films, we have around 4,500 to 5,000 screens. Say China, for example, like they have around 45,000 screens for that matters, which is like a huge numbers. So in a way, what I'm trying to say is that maybe the sort of network that we should be having in terms of more screens, more theatres, is something that ideally should be taken up more actively. And the fact is, I think the taxation is something that really dissuades a lot of people actually in many ways.
भाई हो तो चुका है, more screens, more theatres, सारे जो single screen theatres थे वो सब multiplexes बन गए. जहाँ न्यू टॉकीज था वहाँ 6 theatres हैं, जहाँ मेट्रो and so on. So number of theatres has increased. Everybody was then saying कि smaller theatres are the answer for this kind of cinema. But वो smaller theatres आजकल everybody knows they are running on the popcorn sales, not on the ticket sales, you know.
Right.
On the sandwiches and the cold drinks and stuff. उससे ज़्यादा उनकी कमाई होती है. So even that's not the solution. I really don't know, because I haven't given so much thought to it. I think Neeraj might be able to answer your question better.
Right.
Because he's familiar with the world of distributors.
He's a producer
and exhibitors, yeah.
Not too much, but yeah, I mean the number of screens drastically need to go up. I mean that would be one solution to the number of movies that we keep on churning out every day. Either we cut down on that number so that, you know, but we can't cut down on that number realistically. So obviously an increase in the number of screens will help. These smaller films, the ones that Nasiba is just talking about, as well as newer content, and we'll at least have a chance.
Yeah.
Right.
It might help if we start making better films also.
100%. So how do you respond to the entire, the way things have been happening in the last, like say, few months? So with regards to Padmavat, for example, and that bounties are being put on the head.
Yeah, it's quite hilarious. I mean, I'm at a complete loss to understand it. Why doesn't the income tax get after this guy who offers 5 crores
Exactly.
and ask him, where did you get this 5 crores from, my friend?
Right.
No one seems concerned. I mean, it's really...
And will there be GST? There's a joke that will there be GST on this or not?
Will there be?
So which is a funny part.
But it's completely beyond comprehension.
Right.
Because everyone who's seen the movie, I haven't, but everyone who's seen the movie says there is absolutely nothing controversial in it. It's a hymn to Rajput valor and to Rajput honor.
Right.
And Khilji is shown as a barbaric savage, which should please everybody. I don't see what they are so upset about.
Right. Right. And with the swords in the newsrooms, the people are having swords in the newsrooms. So it's like the way the law and order, the way it has happened, it's like really bizarre actually.
Yeah, it's really funny. It's like something out of Monty Python. You know, it's kind of unbelievable what's happening. The whole country is in ferment over something nobody knows anything about. Nobody had seen the movie before these protests began.
Right.
It defies comprehension.
But as a creative person, do you feel bothered that tomorrow, if you're thinking of making something, because 26 years back, Om Puri Saab played Khilji in Shah Saab's Discovery of India, and there was no furor at that point of time. There was a serial around, I think, 8-10 years back.
Yeah, Discovery. I mean, today you wouldn't be able to shoot a scene like the last scene of Jaane Bhi Do Yaaro.
Ji.
Because somebody would decide to take offense to it. So this is how it is. But then we mustn't also forget that even during the emergency, R.K. Lakshman found a way to make a cartoon every day and to make his point.
Right.
True. So, yeah. True. So if you want to make your statement, you can make it. You know, without getting yourself into trouble. If you've got enough artistic savvy and you know what you're talking about.
Right. And Kissa Kursi Ka was told that even at that point of time.
That was before. That was much before. So yeah, it's not as if there's a choice between political parties, you know. They all have the same thing, same interests at heart.
Right.
Stay in power, any old how. So you can't blame this government or that government. This is how they function.
So Kundan Shah Saab recently he passed away, and Jaane Bhi Do Yaar, as you just mentioned, it's an iconic film. How do you look back at him? And he's someone who's
I feel it was a bit of a tragic case. Jaane Bhi Do Yaar is a memorable film, of course, in many ways for me and for all the others. But I think that the fact that Kundan couldn't get a chance to make many more such films was a loss to the industry,
right,
and to our cinema history, I would say, because he was a man who had a very satirical bent of mind. He was a very serious-minded man. If you met him, you would never think he was a filmmaker. He looked like an accountant or a lecturer in a college or something.
Right.
But he had a very wicked sense of humor and a very sharp eye about things. I just don't know what happened. Maybe he just spent it all in that first film. Because what Jaane Bhi Do Yaar was talking about, time is ripe for a serial. Because look at the levels that corruption has reached by now.
Right.
Jaane Bhi Do Yaar was about 40 years ago, 35 years ago. That time, losing an attorney mattered to all of us. Now, it wouldn't, the same issues would not be the same. So it's difficult. He tried writing a sequel to it, but it didn't work out. And the film industry, of course, could not comprehend a person like Kundan Shah.
Because he also had Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na. You're part of Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na as well.
Yeah, I was.
Which was a nice film. I think it was.
It was nice, but it was hardly in the same league as Jaane Bhi Do Yaar. You could see flashes of where Kundan Shah was coming from. But then he was under pressure to make a successful movie, in Kabhi Haan Kabhi Na. Jaane Bhi Do Yaar, we never thought it would get released. Later on, it will be remembered 40 years later.
Right. There's so many interesting details about that film. There's a book as well by J. Arjun on the movie. Now, Neeraj sir, the entire journey that you had as a filmmaker, you had the privilege of working with Naseer Saab in the first film itself. How do you just remember the first movie that you saw of Naseer Saab? What are the memories that you have? What is it that have you learned anything from him as a filmmaker?
Of course I've learned. The first film, Naseer bhai will actually be very surprised. The first film that I saw of Naseer bhai was Jalwa.
Jalwa, okay. Right, yeah.
So, and it was an amazing experience for me at that age. And then obviously you look back at all the other works that he's had. I am particularly fond of one film, and I think I've told him also. Ijazat is an all-time favorite with me. I don't know how many times I've watched that film. He also asked me, why did you like it so much?
Right. I think
I just
the lyrics,
like
the music was beautiful actually.
So tons of, what I learned from him and his films is performance, of course, and there's so much to learn on that because of the range of roles that he's done over years and all that. So tons of learning over there by just watching, and then of course by working with him and to see how he takes whatever that we've discussed to another level while performing, and then improving upon that in the dubbing, because the films that we've done, we've dubbed those.
They're both of them dubbed.
Yeah, so that's something that's incredible for me.
And sir, have you seen any of his plays?
Yeah.
And what sort of difference do you find in Naseer Saab as a theatre actor and a film actor? Because he really enjoys stage much more than
and you
movies.
can see it. You can see his love for theatre and at times disdain for cinema.
Yeah.
So
that's where that जो भी बोलूँगा सच बोलूँगा element came from.
Disdain for certain kind of cinema.
certain kind of cinema. तो वो पता चलता है, बहुत जाहिर सी बात है. Both are different mediums, so you can sense that he actually uses a different set of tools for that, and then immediately when he's working on a film, he tunes himself to that medium. So that sharp awareness of that these are two different mediums, and he needs to recalibrate whenever he's going back and forth. That's something that's amazing, and I love watching him in films. I love watching him on theatre.
Right. Sir, as he mentioned about Jalwa, I think you were one of the very first few actors who actually genuinely made those muscles. Otherwise,
I hired them. I had implants.
but they were actual muscles, like proper muscle, the way we see in today's times. Many times they are like steroid helped as well. But that came, I think you're the first one to do that with Jalwa. But at the same time, there is this entire, you had this debate on how Naseeruddin Shah, he just
Traitor to serious cinema.
Gee, this entire journey that you had from like being a serious filmmaker and serious actor, and then you just doing this Jalwa and Oye and this entire that journey that has been there. So how do you look at it? You've
I
had an
did what I
extremely-
wanted to do.
Ji.
It's as simple as that. And I realized that I had stumbled upon, the fact that I did not get promoted to stardom was a very big blessing for me. That I did not then become a commodity.
Right.
So I could control what I wanted to do. I was very, very lucky to get into a position where I didn't have to worry about the fate of my next film.
Ji.
Because I was not getting work because I was saleable or because I was very popular or the girls loved me or anything of that sort. I was getting work because people thought I could deliver the goods.
Right.
And I continued to get work for that reason. So I kept getting the roles nobody else would do or nobody else could do. And I realized that has to be my strength. I can't depend on any appeal business to keep me going. I just have to, know as much about my work as possible. That is how I've. That's the only policy I've followed. I mean, when I was teaching at Subhash Ghai's school, and he said, "You got to tell these kids about something about career management," and I said, "I don't know anything about career management. You tell them about career management." But he said, "नहीं, कुछ तो strategy." अब मैंने कहा मेरी strategy सिर्फ ये थी to learn about my work, and I knew that if I know my job, I'll be able to feed myself at least.
Right.
I won't become another Dilip Kumar, but at least खाना तो खा सकूँगा. If I know my job. If I don't know my job, तो उसकी भी surety नहीं है.
बिल्कुल.
So that is what I set myself to do. I never, of course I dreamt of being successful and being popular. What actor doesn't dream of that? Of course I did. But the fact that it didn't come to me didn't kill me, because luckily for me all these kind of films appeared just when I was a newcomer. Shyam Babu, Govind, Ketan, etc., Kundan, वगैरह, who all
Sai
were friends. Sai, Pranchpe, Gulzar Bhai was also
Gulzar sab.
around there.
Ijazat was.
Yeah, so it was just luck. Just I was in the right place at the right time.
Right. Do you find it like it's very easy to say that that why did you do that sort of film? I think many actors they've done a lot of films because of the fact that they have to just get their kitchen running as well. Apparently, I think you paid 15,000 rupees for Jaane Bhi To Yaaro, and you were the highest paid actor.
Yes.
And even after that, I think there were certain bills that you paid of the unit, which was very interesting actually. But the fact is that there is absolutely nothing wrong in doing films that actually help you just have a comfortable life.
Absolutely not. And that's what I tell young actors. Where they feel they can, students who try to impress me by saying, "I don't want to do commercial movie." And I say, "Look, don't talk this nonsense. There's nothing to be ashamed of. You're working for money. What else are we all working for? Yeah?
Right.
We're not all क्या कहते हैं, Michelangelo who will paint the Sistine Chapel for no payment. We are all working for money. We are all working to feed ourselves. So sure, I have done some work where I wouldn't say it was only for the money, but the money was definitely a factor which prompted me to do it.
Right.
And I've never felt embarrassed about admitting that. Why should I feel embarrassed? Who doesn't like to be well paid?
You said about Krish, about the jam part of it. I think in an interview when you did Krish that I have to get the jam on my table as well. So which is it helps me get jam.
The good thing is that he doesn't like too much of jam. So let's.
No, but the way
overkill हो जाता है jam का.
but the way sir has supported, I think the smaller movies is amazing.
Incredible,
actually.
incredible.
It's really
in fact,
amazing.
Wednesday being one of them to start with.
Yeah, 100%.
Yeah.
Must have been.
Yeah, and sooner or later, if you do this without hope of a reward, then something like Wednesday comes your way sooner or later. Yeah. I never dreamt that at that stage of my life I would get a film like Wednesday, which would be such a success.
Right.
And which would give me a lease of life. So, as they say, na, लक्ष्य नहीं है केवल पथ ही.
क्या बात है, क्या बात है, क्या बात है. All right, so any final thoughts on Aiyaary? He's very confident that it's a movie to watch out for. What are your thoughts now that it's just approaching a few days left in theaters?
No thoughts
near
at
us?
all. I mean, I'm now
Are you
looking
nervous?
about. Not at all.
No?
No. Never actually.
That's great.
So, looking forward to the audience's reaction on this one. It's a very layered script, and we had great fun making the film.
Right.
Now we just wait and watch.
Right. In fact, I've not seen Manoj Bajpayee so excited about a film in a long time. He spoke for 40-45 minutes and he's really kicked about the film. He's really kicked about it. So, what do you have to say about Manoj Bajpayee, sir?
Manoj is a wonderful actor. I haven't done enough work with him. I would really like to work more with him. We have, I think it's the first time I've worked with Manoj.
Yeah.
In a year.
He said that there was one passing shot in Drokal.
Drokal.
That
Very
he
something,
was,
very
but
brief,
It was
yeah.
just a passing shot.
Passing,
he said.
yeah.
And he was very excited about working with you actually on this one. That whatever. So.
Yeah, no, he's a marvelous actor.
Right.
I think his and my journeys have been somewhat similar.
Jay.
And I've really admired his spirit and the way he's kept himself going, constantly attempting new stuff, not doing anything for the sake of it.
Right.
Even when he chooses to do a film like Prakash Jha's movie, he's made a mark in those movies too.
Jay, bilkul.
Yeah.
So, what are you doing next? What can we see you doing next?
I'm doing a film with Vivek Agnihotri, which I'm starting in a day or two, called
Right, on,
the Tashkent
Shastri.
Files.
Tashkent Files, right?
Yeah.
On Shastri
Which is
Ji's.
an investigation into Lal Bahadur Shastri Ji's
Jay.
mysterious death, which at that time also, when I was in school, I remember when it happened.
Right.
And we all felt, how can this be, we were all 13, 14 years old, but we all felt, of course you know who the enemy is.
Correct.
But it was very intriguing, and this is a wonderful script that Vivek has written. It's factually has been researched,
Right.
and the whole business is very, very, very intriguing. What happened after the death,
Right.
and how come it was never properly explained?
Correct.
So that's an exciting movie. Mithun Chakravarti is acting in it. I'm
Jay.
going to be working with him after a while.
Right.
And there's a whole lot of other wonderful actors in it.
Right. Anything else apart from that, sir?
Movies wise, no.
Okay.
Plays, yes, I have stuff on my plate.
Great. Has there any chances of directing a movie?
No.
This was 10 years ago. He had told me very clearly, I'm not directing any other film.
I'm happy acting in
No,
movies.
but I really liked his directorial venture, seriously.
Well, you and I are the only two.
No, sir, there's Paresh.
Even
Paresh
I didn't
Rawal.
like it, so you're the only one.
Paresh Rawal, I think he had a
Paresh
wonderful
is
role.
very sweet and Paresh is very diplomatic. And he likes me very much.
Yes.
His emotion gets the better of him. When he
Thank you
talks
so much.
about me.
It's a privilege talking to you.
Thank you,
so
thank
much.
you so much.
All the best wishes for the movie. Thank you very much.
All right.
That's all we have from BollywoodHungama. Keep on watching.